Democrats often throw each other under the bus when things go wrong. This was best exemplified by former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi when she placed all of the blame on former President Joe Biden for them losing last year. Watch.
Had the president gotten out sooner, there may have been other candidates in the race. The anticipation was that if the president were to step aside, that there would be an open primary. And as I say, Kamala may have, I think she would have done well in that and been stronger going forward. But we don't know that. That didn't happen. We live with what happened. And because the president endorsed Kamala Harris immediately, that really made it almost impossible to have a primary at that time. If it had been much earlier, it would have been different.
But what goes around comes around, and Nancy Pelosi seems to have been struck by the Biden curse. More on that later. Also, we have news that AOC is more than likely running for president in 2028. And in line with that, President Trump's online store is now selling Trump 2028 merchandise. Now, there's a lot of shocking news today, so let's go ahead and jump back into the Pelosi story. And if you guys appreciate the daily news updates, take a second, click the like button for me, and subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate the support, you guys. Get this, Nancy Pelosi is 85 years young, according to her. Just a few years older than Senator Bernie Sanders and Mitch McConnell, who are both 83 years old. And while former President Joe Biden is younger than all of them at age 82, we know that his mental capacity just really isn't the same as it used to be. I mean, just watch this footage from just 2 years ago where you could clearly see that he didn't know where he was going.
Mr. President, thank you. At the end of such a momentous event, the word thank you seems kind of inadequate. But for all the millions whose lives will be saved, for the communities where life will be transformed, thank you. So thank you, President Biden.
Now, I know that there's no shortage of these kind of clips. The former president has proven time and time again that he wasn't fit for office back then, and something that Nancy Pelosi and company ignored right up until he debated Trump on national television. And as I showed you guys earlier, Nancy Pelosi was quick to blame Biden for their loss last year, which has now seemed to backfire on her because she is showing signs of mental weakness as well. Watch this.
For Arcadia Produce for hosting us today. This is a remarkable place. I hope you had a chance to see the force of it all. Small businesses like Arcadia are the lifeblood of the American economy, with their great optimism, entrepreneurialism, and courage. It is a privilege to join so many small business owners and community leaders during this cost of living week in America. All over the country, House Democrats are having events with the community about bringing down the cost of living. That was something the president promised in the campaign, but the exact opposite is happening now. So this cost of living week is part of a drumbeat.
To be fair, Nancy Pelosi did have a hip replacement late last year, so we're not sure if she's still maybe taking some medication for that, but hey, look, although it is clear that she does look a bit lost here, as if she doesn't even know what's going on. She didn't even seem aware of where the mic was until an aide helped her out. There's also videos circulating online which has Nancy Pelosi looking rather frail.
Can you tell us what you think about what's happening with the Tesla products, the violence at the dealerships? What's your take on the situation?
I'm so sorry, I'm a little bit late here right now.
Now, of course, she's not going to comment on the violence against Elon Musk and Tesla. And I think it's pretty obvious that she looks weak because of her broken hip. This raises the age-old question. Is it time to talk about term limits when it comes to age? Did you guys see what I did there with the age-old question there? Anyway, I tried. Because we know for a fact that it's not just Democrats who are guilty of officials spending their entire life in office. I mean, just take Mitch McConnell as an example. He's fallen multiple times, and he's even frozen mid-sentence as he talked to the press. Now, if you ask these lawmakers, most, if not all of them, would never willingly resign from office. They're there right up until the end of the line. I mean, just listen to how Hakeem Jeffries talks about deaths within their party and how these deaths affect the voting mechanism in the House.
Passing this initial budget resolution should have been a slam dunk for Republicans. They had to pull the bill down off the floor last night and barely struggled to pass it today. We had two tragic deaths in the House Democratic caucus. Had those deaths not occurred last month, Republicans could not have even passed the bill today. So it's going to be very difficult for them, because once the committee process starts, they can no longer pretend as if they're not intending to cut Medicaid and nutritional assistance and hurt veterans all across the country.
And of course, we have to talk about Senator Dianne Feinstein, who was forced to vote until her very last days. It got so bad that in one instance, her own aide had to tell her that she just needed to vote. This proves that the Democratic Party is desperate for some new blood, which brings us to Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. The far-left congresswoman is now being eyed as a very serious contender for 2028's presidential race.
I mean, someone who kind of walks the line between now, I guess, an incumbent, but still has the brand of a bit of an upstart is someone you were just talking about. You've got this new video posted on the Silver Bulletin Substack where you say Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez could be the likely Democrat for 2028. For years since she came to Washington, she's been a firebrand for the right. She's always written off by a lot of folks as like too progressive. But we've really seen her kind of rise and get her stride. And she's doing these rallies with Bernie Sanders and drawing crowds. Are you convinced that she could get the support of the full party if she did run?
Yeah, it's a good question. And Nate Silver and I did a Democratic primary draft that we acknowledged was way too early.
Too early. It's too early.
It is definitely too early. But, you know, to be clear, the candidates themselves are already positioning themselves to make their run. So I think it's fair game for us to look at the moves that they're making and sort of analyze them accordingly. And here's what I can say about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She is well liked by Democrats. In a recent Yale poll, we see that about 60%, on net, her approval rating is plus 60%. That has her about tied with Harris and Buttigieg. So even though she has in the past been seen as a polarizing figure, across the party, she is well liked. She also has part of her base is going to be that more fervent, progressive part of the party that backed Bernie Sanders through thick and thin. And if a lot of Democrats run in 2028, you know, one of those clown car primaries where everyone just keeps announcing, I'm also running, having that really enthusiastic base of support as you move through the different primary states can be really helpful. I will also say, importantly, that she's pivoted her messaging quite a bit. You listen to these fighting oligarchy rallies. Her message is mostly about the economy. She's not talking about abolishing ICE and the kinds of things that were very polarizing and frankly unpopular that she was talking a lot about in the first Trump administration. And so I think Democrats have evolved in terms of how they view her, and she has also evolved in how she's making her pitch to them.
Right. The private jet flying AOC is the one taking on the oligarchs. A jet that costs $15,000 an hour, by the way. But think about this. Instead of Vice President J.D. Vance, what if AOC goes right against President Trump? Now, I know what you guys are thinking. This is President Trump's second and last term. However, they're now selling new merch, one that says Trump 2028. So what do you think that they're planning?
Let's focus briefly and lastly now on 2028. Live picture there at the White House. This piece of merch, piece of swag, if you will, it's getting a lot of attention online. Take a look at this. Eric Trump, President Trump's son, posting a photo of this red T-shirt there that says Trump 2028 in parentheses, rewrite the rules. Fox has this, that the Trump organization is back in the spotlight, this time with a bold new piece of headwear. And you see there outerwear. The official Trump store, the online retailer, launched a red Trump 2028 hat priced at $50 and made in America. And this shirt as well, the Trump Organization store selling the hat and the shirt there. So the rollout comes as the president, who is currently serving his second term, has once again teased the idea of extending his presidential legacy past 2028. So some are reading it that way. Others are reading it the other way, that he may seek a third term, which is, of course, unconstitutional. And it does not allow for that in the Constitution. And so in a March interview with NBC News, he said, no, I'm not joking. He says there are methods which you could do it about a third term. However, the constitutional catch in all of this is the 22nd Amendment. It bars any U.S. president from being elected more than twice. You see there, the Trump War Room putting this out, a photo of Eric Trump wearing that very hat. They say rocking the new Trump 2028 hat, exclamation point.
Now, before liberals go out and peacefully protest out on the streets, let's get one thing straight. President Trump knows how to push buttons of Democrats. And if we're being real here, we know that Barack Obama had a third term through Joe Biden. Now, if you ask me what this is really about, probably about money. They're set to make a lot of money with this, not to mention the mainstream media fallout that's bound to happen as they talk about this 24/7. Now, in some way, you can kind of take this as a little bit of a distraction for legacy media, something to keep them busy while Trump's administration actually works for the American people. Now, I also have to note that Elon Musk posted it on X while laughing, so this is probably just a troll. But here's my question though. Would any of you prefer a third Trump term? Now, I have an important update on a bonus $5,000 check that was recently discussed by President Trump. And no, we're not talking about the Doge dividend stimulus checks. This is actually a completely separate handout. Make sure you guys watch my recent video on that to get a better understanding of what's going on there. As always, thanks for hitting the like button and subscribing. We'll see you next time.